You were talking about this album taking some time in putting it together, and the name of the album is This Side of Heaven. What all went into the process of it?
So, as far as how we put the whole thing together,
Yeah, because I mean, it just seems like music has made so many different twists and turns these days. I mean, I remember the days when everybody would just jump into a van and head down to the recording studio. Now you can do this wherever you want.
yeah. Well, we had this thing kind of started a little bit before COVID and everything, and we had some ideas and stuff like, that doesn't really have enough punch or whatever to it, or doesn't have the hooks that we're looking for. So I went in and did a lot of rewriting and stuff. And then the COVID hit, and then there was plenty of time to do it because you couldn't really go anywhere or do much, So basically, we just did it from, everyone has their own studio in their own house. So we did that and just transferred files and stuff until we got to the point where, we're gonna, lay down drums and stuff. Yeah. And then we kind of all got together and went down to the studio and kind of knocked it out and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of this one. This one took a little longer than normal. Got some stuff writing, some new stuff since it was a bit putting this together. A lot of it was scheduling, just because Keith, our singer, he's in a couple other bands as well. Mm-hmm. So it was just a matter of getting, people have time to do this, So, but we finally made it happen, and I think it sounds pretty good. And yeah.
It's great rock. It really is great rock. And I'll tell you what, now someone may come back and say, no, it's not just rock. It's a taste of all genres, because, I mean, I love the idea that you guys were playing with a violin incised on a track here.
Yeah. We had Del Escalander, if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he did the violins for like the lead violin player for the Plant Page tour back in the day, when I actually saw him at the Forum. And so that like he was the one playing like that passage for like Kashmir, and it was really cool. And have him at my place in the studio here was really cool. And but yeah, I like mixing it up a bit, because some bands, like, one song kind of sounds like the other song, and time to get to track 3 or 4, you're kind of done with it. So, back in the day, like, Jimmy Page, he would throw all like rock, he'd like, tangents of country in there, some Middle Eastern music, he was like all over the board, and that really made it pretty, creative for the listener, to get the different tastes of different music. And so I thought, that's what I want to do, with whatever I'm, putting together, is have some stuff with a little bit different taste to it,
Yeah. The album we're talking about is This Side of Heaven, from the group Desert Dragon. Those guitars, they're like the fifth Beatle in the band. I mean, I'm tuning in and listening to these guitars. I'm being drawn into this song, closer, and then here comes the vocals. I mean, you're really in control of what your listener is doing.
Yeah, it's like nowadays people's interest level is pretty short and stuff. So you got to keep people interested. So every little bit, needs tending to, so, intros, the verses, what have you, it's just so it all keeps the listener's attention.
I'm glad you brought up song intros, because I mean, I put in my notes, I said that this band is not afraid of long song intros. I mean, and that to me gives me time to breathe, to get into the emotion that's coming through those fingers and through those drums and things like that. And then I'm brought into the story.
Yeah. Well, that's funny you say that, because Lock and Load,
mm-hmm.
That one I spent a little extra time on, and they were fighting me about that intro because it was kind of long, but always liked that song. I forgot that it's on I think it's the second album for Boston, and it has a really long, I think it's The Journey, I'm not sure.
Long time.
I think it was Long Time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it has a super long intro, and it kind of breaks the rules of that. And but the way I do it, it kind of sets it up for the rest of the song. But just so you're not locked into a box on songwriting, gives, like I said, give the listener something a little different. And but I like the long intro, so.
Well, I like the song "Lock and Load" in the way that, man, it's almost like being a part of a spy game of sorts. I mean, it's like there's some drama right there as the song opens and everything.
Yeah, I had a guy I had met at one of the clubs over here one time, and he was playing with this tribute band. It was a Pink Floyd tribute band, and I talked to him later, and he was like killer saxophone. And so I started talking to him, real cool guy and everything. And then I took his number, and, we didn't contact each other for a long time. And I saw him a couple times at different places and stuff. And I thought, you know what, needs a saxophone. Let me give this guy a call and see what's going on. So when I started talking to him, I didn't realize, the kind of stuff he did. But he had one, I think it was down in Orange County. It was I think it was a David Gilmour concert. And he needs sax, and someone said his name. And so that guy, that sax, is actually played with David Gilmour, which I think is pretty awesome.
Wow. What did you feel when Keith St. John was auditioning for the band, and all of a sudden it was like, I mean, was it like, oh my God, instant love, or was it something like, okay, we're going to have to do some harder music to make sure that we get full range vocals from this guy?
Yeah. So, when I started doing it, and like I was saying, like the hooks and stuff, just weren't there and stuff. Okay, we got to rewrite this stuff because, this guy's got a great voice, and we want to, we want to make him happy and make him inspired and everything. So, we did that, and he put his vocals on it. Really was an excellent blend together of the two. Yeah, he's a great. It wasn't really much audition. I mean, to find a really good singer out there is hard to find. So they kind of have to pick you in sort of way, you know, and we're not, a common, probably, a common household name for our band. So, and he dug it. So here we are,
Mm-hmm. I want to see the light show for Swamp Thing. When you guys put that baby on a live stage, I want to see what kind of a light show you're going to put with that song.
Yeah, right. I know I think of what you're thinking of there too, and I think I've been thinking about doing that. You're talking about like the red lights. And,
oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna have to be dark.
The sirens and stuff. Yeah. It's a Swamp Thing. That's one that we're gonna be doing some stuff, trying to get that out there more and stuff too. That one's one of my favorites too. It just it gives it just kind of a. I'm a big Leonard Skinner fan, so I just to have, they have that song Swamp Music, and so like just the whole swamp music, not only the song but that style of music. I think the Southern blues and stuff is really cool, and so that's another part of music I like to delve into a bit.
Well, I love the idea that you're allowing these bands that were here before us, be like inspirations, because one of the things that you and I have in common is Blue Oyster Cult. I got into radio because of Blue Oyster Cult, because I love the way that they sold them on the radio, because they were coming to the Metra in Billings, Montana, and then to hear that that you also have felt that inspiration.
Yeah, it was kind of funny when we played. Place here in Agoura Hills called the Canyon Club. We played with them, and he's another big, huge influence for me. And so he knocked on the green door, and he goes, "Hey, do you know which room is ours?" And I go, "Hey, you can have this one if you want." And he goes, "Oh, that's okay. I'll find something." And then we were out in the hallway talking, and me and the other guitar player, and we're talking with him, and our PR guy comes in and goes like in the conversation, and he goes, and who might you be? And he goes, I'm Buck Dharma. And I go, wow, you didn't do much homework on this one. I mean, that's for me, he is Blister Colt,
Wow.
I mean, he's a great person too. He's a really, really cool guy. But yeah, Blister Colt is, he actually, one of the songs we were playing, because he obviously listened to some of the stuff, who's kind of the support actor or whatever for him. And one of the intros to one of our songs, he was playing on stage, and I go, wow. And I gave him a thumbs up. I thought that was really cool,
When you have a song like Save My World, that right there to me is a great power ballad. The power ballads that used to just dominate radio.
Yeah. Yeah. The putting that one together, we won I don't know what year it was, but we won a Malibu Music Awards. I think it was Best Rock Song of the Year or something like that.
Yeah, I can hear it.
But yeah, it just that's definitely one of the ones I worked a long time on that one, and it really came out great, and yeah, really happy with that.
Do you feel that in listening to the album and listening to the process of how you guys have moved through music history, that you guys are basically the pioneers of a new age of classic rock, or just great, great rock?
Well, I would like to think that the style and stuff that we're trying to put out there is more of a darker classic rock.
Yeah.
With some, I don't know, some southern, blues type of things, and maybe some psychedelic stuff, and some other different, flavors to make something like, a style more like original,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hopefully it does.
Yeah, because I mean, down here in the South, one of the things that's really been happening over the past couple of years is the fact that they're mixing country music with, like you're saying, the dark Southern rock, and it mixes so well together. It's like, this has got to create a movement.
Yeah. I mean, I was, before that happened, I was already kind of thinking about it and see what I could do with it. But it's gonna get bigger. I think
Mm-hmm.
it sounds great. I mean, some of the bands and stuff they're doing, which the music just feels, right down at home. It just sounds great. So I think it's going to go farther, that style of music,
Well, that style of music is also very big at a live performance. Do you want it to still be in the arenas and small clubs and stuff like that, or do you want it to be all over radio the way that it used to be? Because I mean, it's like the mystique. That's what they always said about Led Zeppelin, was that the mystique of Zeppelin is what made Zeppelin Zeppelin.
Yeah, they didn't back in the day. I don't think, they could have played a lot more places than they did.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy Page could have done a lot more interviews than he did, but it was like you say, that mystique that really made people go, wow, this is a strange band. I kind of like it, Don't know much about him. It's hard to find any information really about him and everything. And they definitely had one of the coolest mystiques to the band that of any band I know.
As a creative mind, how have you changed now that you guys have done this album the way that you did, where everybody was doing it in their home studios? Because I mean, there for a while, the only people that were in control were the album companies themselves. Now you're part of the marketing, you're part of the production of it all, you're the songwriting. I mean, you are the business of music.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of artists are going that way. Once you put it together and you get the word out on the streets of what of the music and everything. I mean, a lot of that's, you've already done. So why would you need anyone else?
Right.
And I mean, we were signed to a label at one time, but they weren't really doing anything. So we bowed out of that. It was a European label.
Yeah.
But we'll see what it is. This, kind of like all or nothing,
Yep. So where can people go to find out more about the brand new album, which is called This Side of Heaven, featuring the songs Lock and Load as well as Swamp Thing? Where can they go to find out more info? And I'm sure you've got merchandise as well.
Yeah, you can get the CDs, or we'll have clips up there of the songs and stuff. You can check it out, and there's also T-shirts, what have you, online. And the website is desertdragonofficial.com.
I love
desertdragonofficial.com.
Greg, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future, man. I mean, if Def Leppard can be on this show 9 times, that means that's wide open for you to do the same exact thing.
Really, I love those guys. Those guys are great.
Oh my God,
yeah, I like that band a lot too. Those guys really rock. I have a little cover band, and just to throw people a curve, we played that song "Take What You Want," and not a lot of people heard that, but such a great song, and those guys have been around forever. Super cool band.
Oh my God, Joe Elliott with that accent. He goes, "Hey, Arrow, we're hard workers. It's like a factory.
Right.
Just treat us like an employee. We're gonna bust tail." It's like, oh God, okay, dude.
yeah. The not Phil Collin, but the other guitar player,
Vivian Campbell.
Yeah, Vivian Campbell. Yeah. So I met him a couple of years back at a club around here, and real cool guy. But man, what a band. Those guys are smoking.
Well, you guys are too on this album, and I want you to be very proud of it, because I can't wait to see more of you grow from everything that you've now opened yourself up to.
Well, thank you, Errol. That's very cool. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we get some gigs over in your neck of the woods, and I really like it over there on that side. The people are all, they're very wholesome, and they if they like rock, they go crazy.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Errol. Have a great day.